Hey Ragers, this is Rage Quit. Ignore that. Just ignore this big sheet on the wall. That right there, I'm just going to explain that before I do my video on what I planned on doing now. I can't explain too much about this right now. I do want to explain this. This thing right here, amazing. If you go on my last present streams, you've probably been noticing, or you could notice, my background is not this wall. It's just black. It's amazing. It looks like I don't even have a background. It's just me. It's amazing. So, if you guys already don't know, or if you probably do because of the title, I'm going to be talking about some here's and there's, because knowing that it's Autism Awareness Month, I wanted to do one more video because all I did this month was my life story. If you didn't watch that, go check it out. So, this one is all about just some things that, if you guys truly care about people who need help or mental help, no offense to anybody, I need mental help as well. Almost anybody would need mental help if they are down in the dumps, they're aggravated over their grade that they had on their past test, or somebody bullied them in school, or something. I don't know. But this video is all about how to maintain somebody without them going psychotic. You do not have to take everything into consideration. There are people who will end up taking it the wrong way if you do it the wrong way, or anything like that. Just be cautious on what you do after you listen to this video. So, if you were to choose me as a reference, and I went to school or I went to my job and got really ticked off over somebody saying something nasty to me, and I ended up wanting to knock somebody out, like I wanted to box with them, but I would get arrested if I did that. But if I was at work, I would get arrested because I was aggressive at work. So if I was at school and I was with you guys, if you guys are listening to this and you're still in school, if you ran up to me to try to calm me down, and I'm one of those people who get more aggravated if somebody was talking to me, I would say, please back off. Right now, I'm not in the mood. What I would recommend over that kind of circumstance, let the person calm down for about 5, maybe up to 7 minutes. If you want to be cautious enough, pull more 10 minutes. This is if you were at lunch or something and you saw this person pissed off because somebody was like, hey, look at Joe being a retard. And that person, and I was that person that overheard them talking about me, calling me a retard when I'm not. I would get ticked off, and it'll last over time. And once that happens, I don't want to be bothered with, because I just got accused for being a retard. So if you guys are the ones seeing me do this, either if you overheard it in that person's class, or if you were in my class, if I was in that class and you heard that person say something, don't go and talk to that person that said that, or try calming me down. What if I was the one that... What if I ended up snapping at you and you kept trying and trying and trying? I would get so ticked off. I didn't realize if you were my friend, I would end up whamming you. And then I would get AIS. Or suspended. Or something. And then you would be accused of trying to calm down a psychopath. I don't want you guys doing that. So let's bring up a friend issue, not being me. So you went to class with your friend, or you're just meeting. Let's do this. You meet somebody and before class starts up, right? You go to class or you go to school. First thing you do, because for me, when I went to Mechanicville High, I had to chill out in the hallway with everybody else until the first bell rang. So think of it as you were in a school where you had to wait for first bell. You ran into a newbie. That newbie ends up getting bullied, and this person starts to shut down, just shutting down. This all might be common sense, but take it from a person who has friends who've been bullied and been through the scenario of being mistreated and being an outcast. I was never bullied, but I was considered an outcast. So you run into this newbie and you see this person be like, "Hey, what's up?" You seem like technically a bully would have to figure out what to say at that very moment in time, and the newbie doesn't know that that's a bully. They would just think they just don't know what to say. So they would wait until the person can say something. So they think that just that nudge would be just playing around. So the bully would end up pushing that person, trying to figure out something to say, and then finally says something that they really wanted to say by like either the three main things a bully would say. I'm going to try to use the words, okay? I'm going to try. So bear with me. It's been a while since I've been in school, but I know some stuff. So a bully would end up either saying, "Try staying away," or "I'm going to bully you worse." I was going to say batter, but that's not a word. So stay back. This is my territory. I'm going to continuously bug you until you end up crying. And the third one, it would be... I'm debating on the two. I have two in my mind. So I would either say... I had a long day. I really did. I had quite a rough day. You know what? Let's just go with the two. I had two in my mind, and I lost them. So the person would end up hearing that, and depending if the person has a disorder of autism, not knowing that, because the mental state, I'm not bullying them, but because I am too. I had this when I was in school, and then I worked with it when I went along. So, knowing if a person is autistic and really bad and it doesn't really show it until they either speak or something, if it's not shown, the bully would end up making the person cry and run somewhere else, and then that person would end up following that person to harass them even more. And knowing that it's affecting that person, that bully is going to keep going and going and going. And that person, if they're autistic, doesn't know how to stop it or realize the bully is just doing that to hurt the individual. So at the very end of the day, the person would end up that was bullied would go home, cry in their room or something, that would end up figuring out what to do, and then day on and day off, they would end up dwelling over it and over and over and over and over again, and then it'll all get built into their mind to the point where they're like, oh my God, there's nothing I can do about this. The only thing I can do to solve it. And think about this, okay? Before I get to that word. What if that individual was home alone and had nobody to talk to? What do you think that person would do? Like, really, what would that person do? They would grab a knife and stab themselves. Or even worse than that. That's how bad bullying could end up hurting somebody that's either has a disorder of autism, which is a spectrum, by the way, may I add. It's not even a disorder, it's just a spectrum. But I'm saying the disorder of autism because it could all lead up to depression or anxiety. That anxiety could build and build and build and build and build and build and build, and like it could end up driving the person insane to the point where they would want to kill themselves because of that bully. So the best way to solve a person that's going absolutely insane, if you see the person not mad but sad and lonely and just not being near somebody to calm them, check on them. See if they're okay. See if they're okay enough to try to communicate. If it's a person who is autistic enough to where they can't verbally say it, they'll try their best. Listen to what they're saying. It's actually, if you specifically just listen to the individual, it's actually clearer than you think it is. It really is. I've met my friend that I hang out with every other week is autistic. And yeah, he might not show it on the outside, but his verbal words are actually, they're sketchy, but they're not bad. Now, I went to school with a person who was really bad. They weren't showing on the outside, but his words were actually really difficult to understand. But if you give the person a chance, you would actually understand what they're saying if you just give them a chance to speak. If anything, sometimes the person might, or the individual might not understand that you might be helping them, but they could freak out because they've never been around somebody besides their parents. Now, here's another aspect. I'm not going to go back to another story, but if you listen carefully to what I'm going to say. If you communicate with an individual with any disorder, could be depression, it could be anxiety. It could be something that could end up causing the person to needing some kind of assistance, not by an adult, but just by either having a friend. If you could give that person, not even saying the factors of just helping them. It could be giving them a Pop-Tart when you first walk in the building, and just give them a Pop-Tart. Doesn't matter what kind of Pop-Tart it is. Break that Pop-Tart in half and give that individual that other half. That would make their day. You could end up walking into the building and see that the person's being bullied and just pull that person away and push that bully away. It doesn't matter if that bully bullies you back. You just saved a person's life. Seeing that you tried to help them shows that somebody's there for them. You could walk into the building and you could have a can of soda that's not open yet, and you see that in your lunchbox when you go to school, when you see that there's another soda besides the one you're about to drink, and you give that soda to that person, you just saved a life. Because you're trying to be a true friend. Even if you don't know the person, you just saved a person's life. Let's say you go to lunch. This one person that sits alone. Absolutely alone. There's nobody around. Nobody likes this person. But yet, you have no friends either. You see that person wants somebody to sit near them. But when that person ends up trying to sit next to somebody, they get up and walk away with the rest of their gang. And you just see an entire bench of nobody but that one individual, and you see that person doesn't have a lunch, and you give them half of your sandwich that you have in your lunchbox, or you just got from the lunch lady. You try to break that PB&J in half and give that to that person. You just saved a person's life. That's that right there. What I'm trying to say. Somebody might not be able to afford some food, and the family that they have is poor, and you feel like you need to save somebody's life today. You have that opportunity. Every single day, you may not see that there's an individual out of the entire school that you go to school with. If you've gone, you might be watching this, and you might be going to work right now. You have a coworker. If you look very closely, there is an actual coworker that does not have enough money to afford to get food for that time of need. You could save that person's life from being depressed because nobody wants to help. That's why I'm trying to state that now. Because somebody could be depressed because they have no money, no food, and they're trying to keep themselves healthy by living in a building and not outside. They might be using the money from the job you're working with them to just pay for rent. Just rent. And all the bills that they need to get heat, to get light. Because think about it. What if you're to think outside the box, and they could be just paying for just heat in a house. They could be living like this. They could be living just like that. They might just have the fact that they might be using their phone and they can only have that. You know what I mean? They could be doing this as well. They could just have their hand in front of a screen, trying to stay away from all the drama. Just blocking out. Think of it as if they're watching this right now. They could have their hand in front of the screen and trying to stay away from it. Because they're too depressed, because nobody wants to help them. Everybody looks for help. Even if they state that they don't want it. Everybody wants help. I want help. You probably want help. Everybody who might watch this video now would want help. Even if they don't state it. There's about 5 people who I communicate with. Almost 4 out of the 5 is dealing with something. It's called bullying. It's called bullying. I just went through a huge argument because I'm trying to help somebody getting out of a situation that they're in. And for some reason, I ended up getting so overwhelmed to where I was clenching my fist of rage, and I almost wanted to punch a tree because I just didn't know what to do. My father tells me not to get involved in problems that don't resolve me, but I'm trying to. I have 5 friends that I deal with, including myself. So that means 4. My friend Greg, that was here yesterday, and he was in the streams that I did yesterday. My friend John, that's always in the background. Pat and Brandon. I can't consider my girlfriend because she's my girlfriend, but my 4 friends, they need help. Not mental help, but they just need help with this scenario. But the problem is they don't get along. And I wish I could help them with that. But for some reason, there's always the next step up. Always the next step up. I could end up stopping the one part of it, but there's always that top part that will just never go away. Never. For some freaking reason, there's always something on top of it that's stopping them from doing something. And it's affecting me. I'm the one trying to resolve this. It's not even a problem. There's no issue. But there's always something that's blocking that one passageway to getting to that thing up there. It's like a wall. There's no way to break it. And I wish I could do something about it. I would love to see all of them in the background of my streams having some fun. But for some reason, there's always an issue. Always. And there's really nothing they could use to explain why. There's no reason to hate. There's no reason to bully somebody. There's no reason to control somebody's life. There's no reason to harass. I'm not saying that all of those are reasonable of what's happening right now. I'm just reasoning that, okay, let's say somebody is bullying somebody at school. That's considered harassing. So we just got 2. Using the phrase of controlling somebody, meaning if you're bullying somebody at school and you're trying to harass them, you're controlling their life because you're trying to change somebody by shutting them down into the dumps to the point where they are going to change their life by just killing themselves. That's what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter if you're bullying, harassing, controlling somebody, or even the factors of talking nasty to somebody, which is still harassing, but it's a different version of harass. All 4 can resolve the same way. The same way. Doesn't matter which way you go. You could do one, just that one. That one little thing could resolve to all of those combined. They could all resolve to death. I was so hurt because I was trying to help somebody and it resolved to another issue that ended up crushing another chance to just end the issue. And that ended up causing me to go through some depression and anxiety because of what I heard from a specific individual. And I'm not hurt because of that. I'm hurt because I just disowned myself because I thought I could do something, and it ended up breaking me in many ways than others. They didn't hurt me, I hurt myself. I thought I could rely on myself to do it, and I realized I shouldn't be doing this anymore. I gave up after today. I wish I could do something, but think about it. You need to think of yourself more than others. If somebody says something nasty to you, stare at them in the face, okay? If you are being harassed, stare at them in the face. Not close, but just be like, and what are you going to do about it? And guess what's going to happen? That bully that you just said that to is going to stop their stuff with you and move on to somebody else. If you say that to everybody else, they'll stop bullying. Doesn't matter how many. Once you've said that to somebody else, it'll be passed down. And then what's the bully going to do? There's nobody that they could scare. Absolutely nobody. But I'm going to say this to end this video, okay? My father said when I was little, ready? I've already said this in a way. If the person says something nasty to you, what you do falls on you. And I'm going to explain really quickly what that means. Think of your teacher saying to sit down. If your teacher says to sit down, and you don't, and you flip out because of that, that falls on you. It falls on you. Because you could have just sat down and did your work. But instead you ended up flipping out and you just landed yourself into AIS. What do you guys think? And by the way, I almost half of this video talking about my friends and the fact that I disappointed myself is all the stuff that happened today. I just spoke about it and you guys didn't even know about it. So, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for listening to every word I just said. It means the absolute world to me. I tried to use the references of what I just went through today to tell you guys how to maintain a person who needs help. Doesn't matter if it's just disability or the fact that they're just depressed and angry. So, if you guys thought my story and my reasoning of all this was actually accurate, please leave a like to tell me that you guys understood every single word and took it all into consideration to help you understand and help somebody. It might not work, you guys might do it incorrectly, but practice makes perfect, okay? Practice makes perfect. So, thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys. I won't be doing a stream tomorrow. I gotta go to work early because I didn't realize that my job was actually earlier than I thought. So I'll do one when I do get back from work. It might be late, but you guys can always check it out later on, like the next day or something. But I'm going to be doing some Rayman tomorrow, so might be fun. Make Rayman Legends. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked it, punch that like button in the face and rage quit out.